Hi everyone, hi everyone, hi everyone, hi everyone, hi everyone. मैं ऐसे करूँगा entry. Hi everyone, welcome to Ruskin Felix channel. I talk about stock markets and this is actually a continuation video. So if you haven't seen the earlier one, please go and watch. Link is provided. Uh, what we were talking about earlier is basically the stocks market and what are the basics of the stock market, the concept, and all the details related to that. This is the second section. Please continue. People who are watching, people who are new, I would suggest that you please go see the other video, the first video first, and then come back. For people who are already here and who have already seen, let's get right into it. So the role of exchanges, indexes, and stocks. Why are stocks important and what are exchanges? People have to realize this with what is an index is essentially, I don't want to read the definition here, but what an index is basically like a basket of stocks. How are these stocks selected? On some criteria. What are these criteria? We will discuss. And how are they selected and why the index is made is because, as I have initially said as well, that this is basically because of the indexation effect that happens. There is one particular year which is the base year for any stock, and then on the basis of that there's an indexation and weightage done, and that provides the overall value of the stock market in the future. Now, I've also given the DJI 100-year historical chart. If you see why I'm doing these videos and why I am positive about the stock market, is because if you can see as well, in these 100 years of the stock market, if you see the overall trend of the share market, it's always been up. And that is inclusive of about 16 different periods in this century from 1930 to 2020, 1920 to 2020. In one century, there are about 16 periods where the stock market has fallen, where there's an actual recession. But even in those cases, after those cases, the stock market has risen and it has continued to rise over a substantial period of time. Just like how cryptocurrencies are doing right now, but not in that fashion, in a more stable fashion. Now, index formulation. How do we do an index formulation is by computing or understanding what are free floating shares. One aspect of every company is shares. There are some shares of that company which are owned by the promoters or by LIC or different kind of institutional investors, both foreign and domestic. So those are not changing. There are some particular set of shares which are free floating, which can be traded. That free floating shares of the number of shares that are not, for example, pledged or liened and are available in the stock market for trading is basically the free float of a company. That free float is assessed on the basis of the weighted average of all these stocks. So the weighted average is, for example, if a particular weights are provided for all these stocks, like for example, HDFC Bank in Indian Stock Exchange, for example in NSE, has a weightage of 5%. Now similarly, there are other stocks which have different stock exchange weightages. Now on that basis, if they move a particular way, positive or negative, that much, say for example 5%, that much impact is going to happen on the overall exchange. Now, this weightage and this ratio of all the stocks that are selected for a particular index is done on 3 or 4 elements. Now, these are specific to all indexes of how they're formulated. You should go and check, for example, how NYSE is formulated, or how DJI 50 is formulated, or how, for example, NSE Nifty 50 is formulated. All of these have different overall criterions, but the vibe and the understanding of it is same. And on a basic level, it is one, what is their market capitalization, two, what is their strength in the market, three, what is their portfolio profit, or what are the profit for a period of time, say for example 3 years, 5 years. Now in these aspects, the index basically compares all the companies, gives them importance, so called weightage, and then makes an index taking 1 year as an index year. That's how an index is formed. Now, coming to what are the major indices, some of the major indices in India are National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange. Other indices in US, for example, is Nasdaq, the FTSE. There are others as well. Shanghai, Hang Seng. In Europe, there is DAX and FTSE, Standard and Poor, S&P 500 is for US, and there's a lot of other countries as well. So this is just for your understanding as to there are a lot of exchanges, and these are just the global exchanges. There are other global exchanges as well which are not that matured or not that big enough, but yes, there are a lot of exchanges, there are regional exchanges as well. And essentially wherever there wants people want a market to be made, that's where you have an exchange. Now, the size of the exchange depends on the companies that are traded on it, and that will change. So, on that basis, your size will also change. Now, coming to the regulators, there are some people who are basically told that you have to govern the operations of these companies, and you have to basically provide security, safety, policy, procedure, all of these things. Now, in US, there is Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC), FSA is in Europe and England, CSRC is in Shanghai and China essentially, and SEBI Securities Exchange Board of India is in India. They will always have different roles and responsibilities overall, but I'll just encapsulate what are their basic roles and responsibilities, and that will be common for most of them, all of them essentially. One is to whoever are the stock market constituents, that means intermediaries, exchanges, companies, all of these people, they will have some kind of regulations for all of these intermediaries and investment bankers and AIFs and mutual funds, they will have. Second is notifier reporting procedures. Now, what are the reporting procedures, or what documents have to be filed by listed companies that they control? They also want to maintain an efficient and transparent market, because there are people who are general public who are investing in the market. So there is a particular need for all these rights to be safeguarded. There are a lot of cases when SEBI has entered, for example, in the Sahara case, or for example, in the Kingfisher Airlines case, where the SEBI has entered into the market, asked the company to provide for documentation, sued the company to basically get money out, so that the rights of normal human beings and normal general public who had invested in these stocks can be safeguarded. That's one of the major goals actually of any exchange regulator or any financial market regulator. Now, also monitors securities companies, self-regulatory organizations, and stock markets. So SEBI doesn't just look at companies; it also looks at the exchanges. It also looks at the OTC counters market. It also looks at all the intermediaries, for example, credit rating or agencies, credit rating organizations, other securities companies, other depositories. So it has basic control on all of the constituents of the stock market, which is something that you need to understand. And because from a regulatory point of view, if you want to deal with businesses tomorrow, for example, if you're going and buying a portfolio management scheme, a PMS in India, you need to know that you can be duped in this. There are a lot of people who are doing PMS services without an actual license. The way to actually go and check is going to the SEBI website, checking the list of PMS service providers, and then checking the list, the name that you are working with. If it's not there, then you're basically working with a person who doesn't have a license. So it's very simple for them to cheat you. And so for you to understand what are your rights and what is your procedures in such a case, you need to go and visit to the regulator website that they have in your country. Okay, so coming to market capitalization. Market capitalization, now we have understood that this is usually used for creating the indexes. What market capitalization, to anyone who doesn't know about it, is basically the overall capital value of a company. Now, how is that computed? Essentially, whatever is the market price in the share in the share market of the company, that is multiplied with the total number of outstanding shares. This is the total market capitalization of a company. If you want to see what is the outstanding shares, if you read any balance sheet, the part which says about the share capital, there is authorized share capital, issued share capital. So that issued share capital, and in that partly paid and fully paid. So the fully paid issued share capital is the total number of outstanding shares into the current market price of the company of one share. That will give you the overall total market capitalization. Now, for listing equity, there are separate ways in the primary market. One is the IPO, which is an initial public offer. Now that is done to the general public. Okay. A QIP, which is basically a qualified institutional placement. Now this is done where the company doesn't want to give its shares or get the proceeds from general public, but it has some institutional investors who it wants to issue shares to and get the capital from. That is basically when it's done, it's a QIP where only institutional, qualified institutional placements can be done. Now, the last one is private placement. Private placement is where you are doing it, actually you're doing it internally, and you have a set buyer who is going to invest in the company, and you do a private placement only for that buyer. So this is not open for either the qualified institutions or the general public, so and not the HNIs, retailers, no one. So this is done as per the regulatory and exchange requirements. Whatever are the exchange requirements, this is just a brief, but the overall listing is done on the overall liquid requirements. Some of the factors that these exchanges look at before listing is one, what is the past profitability of the company? So it has to be in profit. For example, any company who has to get listed in the SME or the NSE has to have 3 years of profit continuously, has to have a positive net worth, its market strength should be good. So that is also assessed. It's not a major criteria, but its market strength should be assessed as well. They assess the overall market capitalization as well to understand the weightage that it's going to provide to the index as well, and the ownership. So for example, how much is the promoter owning, how much is the institutionals owning. Now this is also a rule that 75%, no promoter can own more than 75% of a listed company. So that is something. So for example, any listed company which has 90-80% promoter holding and they go into, for example, an IPO, then the promoter needs to dilute its shareholding from 80 or 90 to 75 or below. So these transactions, now you will understand why these transactions happen and what is the reason of these happening. This is how an equity is listed. Now when it comes to debt, a debt can be listed in comparison to, for example, equity. The whole procedure is quite different because in this there is a listing agent. You need to submit your documents as per the SEBI guidelines. You have to do your credit rating as well, and that is done from, for example, CRISIL, CARE, S&P, Moody's ratings. So these are some of the credit rating organizations that essentially give you rating of the financial instrument that you're going to take. Like for example, if you're going to be issuing debentures, you need to have a risk category class given to you by any of the rating agencies as described. Once all of that is done, you submit your documents. Those are approved from SEBI and from the exchange, and that's when it can be publication can be done for it, and capital can be taken from investors for it on all categories that the issue is done for. Now, the price setting, as I have earlier told as well, if you see in this, the price setting in stock market, you will see that the demand is moving and how a price is particular set, for example, of any share in the stock market is the equilibrium of the demand and supply. If there are, say for example, 10 different price points at which sellers are available and 10 different price points at which buyers are available, they will try to manage to get the price as close to the buyer and seller. That will be as a weighted average or an average depending on the number of orders and quantity on both sides, buyers and sellers, and then they will find the final value of the share that is there. That will be the share price. So now if it goes up, goes down, you understand that demand is going up or demand is going down. And that happens for a continued period of time. If the demand goes up for a continued period of time, the share will increase. Opposite, if it goes down, then the demand is going down as well. Some of the major exchanges, I just wanted to give you a note of what are the major exchanges: NASDAQ, London Stock Exchange, NYSE, the Amsterdam Exchange, National Stock Exchange, India, Bombay Stock Exchange, Tokyo, Hong Kong. So these are some of those bigger stock exchanges that are there. There are a lot of them as well. This is just a precursory note where you just have to, if you're wanting to invest and look at other markets, you need to see all these markets as well. And roles of exchanges. Now I just want to go through the roles of exchanges as well. What are the roles of an exchange? We've already discussed what is the role of the statutory body or the regulatory body. Now we are going to discuss what is the role of the exchanges that are available. And so once we look at that, we will have a further discussion. So the first role is standardized investments. It tries to standardize investments into different asset classes and different asset ratings. It gives opportunities for investors to buy and sell and trade in securities and financial instruments. It definitely transfers or facilitates the transfer of particular securities from one buyer to another buyer. So for example, one seller to another buyer. It provides a total, see, exchange is, what is exchange doing is price setting. And how is it doing price setting is basically providing a live actualization or realization of all prices. So it provides an infrastructure through its servers, which is continuously running. That is something you need to look at. It ensures the safety in transactions. When a transaction is done, it ensures that it is done in a safe manner with DPs and lien amounts on both the accounts, so that there is no default or there is no faulty transaction. So these things are very important, and that is why the main role is to provide liquidity in the economy by two means: by providing liquidity between owners and by providing liquidity to companies to get more funds. Primary market, secondary market. And as I said, the primary market, it's a source of raising capital. This is the end of this video. I hope you subscribe to my channel. A lot more content that I'm going to keep putting, and I hope you're looking at all of this. There's the next video basically that I'm going to be posting, which is the third part 3. Part 3 basically has how the stocks and indexes are moving, some examples of how stocks have moved and what you have to look at when you're looking at, say for example, some company, and how you have to read some of the graphs, what kind of investor do you want to be, and an understanding of what the intermediaries are, what are intermediaries, and a basic assessment of the intermediaries, so on and so forth. So please go to the next video, link is below, and let's end this with the last part of this presentation. Thank you. Do subscribe, do check other videos. I'm counting on you. And I hope you make a lot of money also. I pray for it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.